Anyway, let's go back to Gary's email. He says, secondly, if you really do dismiss the sages on the basis of the horrible things they say or said about Yeshua, would you not also dismiss the reformers on the basis of the horrible things they said about the Jewish people, namely Luther, Calvin, whom you both mentioned? Should you not apply equal weights and measures, or am I missing something? I would say that you're missing something here. I'm not saying that we throw out the rabbis altogether. I think that the rabbis, if you're looking for something specific, the rabbis can be very helpful. So, for instance, if I'm trying, and I did this in my work on meal customs in throughout the first century and the Christian era. If you want to look at meal customs, one of the things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to track how Christianity viewed meals. And guess what? Judaism is a part of that, because Judaism's from the first century on, their meal customs changed as well. And you can see that Christianity and Judaism go together in that respect. They both kind of have this evolution of meals at the same time. And so some are borrowing from others, especially with the split of Christianity and Judaism. So in that respect, of course, I'm going to look at the historical evidence that the rabbis have to say about these meal customs. I think that if you're looking for various commentaries on how things have been viewed throughout history, if I want something on 6th century view of, and let's just put it into the context that Gary is putting it in, if we're going to look at predestination in the 6th century CE, then sure enough, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to look at some rabbinical sources. I'm going to go and look at some Christian church fathers and whatnot. And if I want to look at what Christianity is doing in the 1500s during the Reformation, then I'm going to go to the Reformers. This does not mean in any way, shape, or form that I'm going to accept theology hands down from either one of those groups. I'm not going to look at the church fathers. I'm not going to look at the Reformers and say, aha, these people believed it, therefore I believe it. I'm not going to look at the rabbis and say, aha, these people said it, therefore I'm going to believe it. You know why? Because all of those groups, the church fathers, the Reformers, and the rabbis have all had gross misunderstandings of certain things. And this is one of the reasons that we had the Reformation in general, is because the Christian church was so off on so many things. So basically, and I got an email the other day from someone who was talking about, maybe I should just do away with the commandments and go back to the church. And so the question is, are we doing something because we're in a movement, or are we believing something because a group of people have said it? Or are we living out our faith because we rest on the Bible and because we are genuinely trying to see what God has said? So when it comes to the idea of predestination, let's look at the scriptures first. And this might be I know I've talked for a long time, but give me just a few seconds. This might be a good time to run down a little bit. Last week, I got excoriated by a couple of people on my proof text that I was using for predestination. And I just want to clarify that. I don't want to necessarily get back into this conversation, but it seems as though I did not do a very good job of explaining what I meant. When I used Isaac as the catalyst or the example of predestination, that Abraham said, give the covenant to Ishmael. And God said, no, it's going to Isaac. Okay, people said, well, you're using that text wrong. Let's ask this question. When God predestined or said that the covenant was going to go through Isaac before he was even conceived, could Isaac have carried the Abrahamic covenant and not been saved?
Or could Isaac have abandoned God?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a similar idea.
And then in our Messiah Matters More video, I brought this up too. Let's take it away from Isaac. Let's put it up on John the Baptist. It says that while he was in the womb, he was filled with the Holy Spirit. Paul tells us that a person who is filled with the Spirit of Christ is saved. So was John the Baptist saved in the womb? And if so, did he choose that? Okay, so now with all of that said, with those two examples, now the question has to be, is it just those two people that God saved and predestined before they had a choice? Or does he do that with others? This is a domino effect in the discussion of predestination. Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. and we'll see you in the next video.